She is a hypocrite because not only, as I said, did she get her seat in the first place by challenging an incumbent, but what I also need everybody to understand is that it's in moments like this that you realize how unserious they are about change. How all that, oh, stop oligarchy tours, they don't mean it. Because when push comes to shove and somebody actually says, you know what, Hakeem Jeffries is really corrupt, we should primary him, she swoops in to go, I don't think it's the right time. The same that they try to manipulate you with every single election, whether it's the midterms or the general election. They constantly tell you, oh, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. No, it's always the right time to oust an APAC shill. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular from Due Dissidence, filling in for Jimmy while he is on the road. So some news out of New York. Big question after Mamdani's upset win for the New York mayorship or mayoralty. What do they call it? Mayoralty? It's a hard word to say.
Yeah, it's a real word.
Yeah, it's a real word, but I don't like it. It's a sticky word. I don't like those sticky words. Mayoralty. Yeah, too many words packed into the same syllable. So anyway, Zoran's win really got the speculation going. Okay, who are going to be some of these next New York Democrats to be primaried? So a guy named Ossé threw his hat in the ring, filed paperwork, launched a primary campaign for Hakeem Jeffries' seat. DSA guy, been speaking at the Starbucks workers events. We'll get a little bit more into who he is in a few minutes. Here he is, member of Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy Crown Heights personal account. That is his personal account. He is on the New York City Council, sort of primarying Hakeem Jeffries from his left. And so when asked about the wisdom of that, one AOC shuts it down. I certainly don't think a primary challenge to the leader is a good idea right now, she told Axios. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez signaled in an interview with Axios on Monday that she would not support New York City Council member Ossé in a Ossé in a primary challenge against House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Ocasio-Cortez is one of several high-profile progressives distancing from Ossé's potential run, arguing that it is a distraction from New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's victory. A distraction? Why would it be a distraction? Progressive Change Campaign Committee head Adam Green told Politico it is not the right moment to launch a primary challenge against Hakeem Jeffries. Mamdani also appeared to discourage his fellow Democratic Socialists of America member on Monday. I believe there are many ways right here in New York City to both deliver on an affordability agenda and take on the authoritarian administration in the White House, Mamdani told reporters of Ossé. We'll get more into Mamdani in a few minutes. So Ocasio-Cortez told Axios during a brief interview at the U.S. Capitol that she was not aware that Ossé was challenging Jeffries, but she added, I certainly don't think a primary challenge to the leader is a good idea right now. Ocasio-Cortez demurred on other races, declining to weigh in on whether she would support New York City Comptroller Brad Lander if he runs against Representative Dan Goldman. So Brad Lander was the Jewish guy in the race who endorsed Mamdani and encouraged his voters to write in Mamdani second, to rank him second, which is a huge part of why Mamdani won. And Lander would have a pretty good chance against ultra-Zionist Dan Goldman, but they're not interested. Not interested in that. AOC says, no, now is not the time. Ossé filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission on Monday to run for Jeffries' district, which covers portions of Brooklyn. He said in a statement he is exploring a run because Democratic leadership is not only failing to effectively fight back against Donald Trump, they have also failed to deliver a vision that we can all believe in. Jeffries, who had previously repeatedly dismissed the notion of an Ossé primary challenge, told reporters at a press conference Monday, come on in, the water is warm. Well, easy to be that confident when this guy's apparently getting no support from the people who like to pull up the ladder behind them, like AOC, who came to fame by winning an unlikely primary against a top-ranking Democrat, and obviously Zohran Mamdani beating Democratic royalty Andrew Cuomo. So here are some of the comments. Marissa, Union Strong, says, yeah, Bernie and AOC say challenge the establishment, immediately followed by, but not like that. It has to be pre-approved by those two cowards. They can both fuck off. Lila Charles Lee says, this is not our time to get Mamdani. Carol Leonard says, I heard she wears a bracelet that says WWND. What would Nancy do? Exactly. Truly is the new Pelosi. Here's Blakely, our friend Blakely, with a take on this development.
Here is why I did not fuck with her and Bernie Sanders' Fight the Oligarchy tour that happened recently when everybody else was fawning all over it. Because it's very easy to say, fight the oligarchy, stand up to the establishment, when it's vague and faceless and nameless. But then when somebody takes your advice and says, you know, I'm gonna primary the guy who was completely funded and controlled by Wall Street and AIPAC, you go, oh, did I say fight the oligarchy? I didn't mean ours. Similar to what Bernie said when he was asked about Chuck Schumer's disastrous handling of the government shutdown, he's like, well, I'm not going to call for him to step down, but make sure you stand up to the establishment. Okay, so you guys want to tell people to stand up to the establishment, but then when they do in your own party, you're like, what? He didn't mean like that. Which is particularly galling because we all know that AOC has her seat because she challenged an incumbent in leadership. And remember, this is the same AOC that tried to gaslight all of us and tell us that Joe Biden was the best person to run for re-election, that he was fine. This is just the newest example of why I don't trust her. This shit was the nail in the coffin for trust. She and Bernie are hypocrites, but I already dealt with Bernie in the...
Keep that in mind. This shit was the nail in the coffin. She referring to she says when Kamala Harris is working tirelessly for a ceasefire. That was the big moment from AOC at the DNC. Yeah. Remember that for later in the segment.
Often for trust. She and Bernie are hypocrites, but I already dealt with Bernie in the other video. She is a hypocrite because not only, as I said, did she get her seat in the first place by challenging an incumbent, but what I also need everybody to understand is that it's in moments like this that you realize how unserious they are about change. How all that, oh, stop oligarchy tour is bullshit and they don't mean it. Because when push comes to shove and somebody actually says, you know what, Hakeem Jeffries is really fucking corrupt, we should primary him, she swoops in to go, I don't think it's the right time. The same bullshit that they try to manipulate you with every single fucking election, whether it's the midterms or the general election. They constantly tell you, oh, it's not the right time, it's not the right time. No, it's always the right time to oust an AIPAC shill. Thank you.
Yes, always the right time to oust an AIPAC shill under any circumstance, especially now. The party base is not happy with Schumer's leadership or Jeffries' leadership. That issue aside, they're at their most vulnerable moment right now. But now is not the time. And here's Zoran Mamdani on channel 11 saying, I think that the right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary.
Your election has created a lot of buzz. Now that the midterms are underway, that seems to be the focus, but your name is still being dragged into the midterms, right? Let me talk about Hakeem Jeffries for a moment, who now may face a challenge from Ossé, who is a member of the DSA. You said that there are local issues that Mr. Ossé should be focused on, maybe should remain a councilman. Are you saying he should not run against Hakeem Jeffries?
No, I'm saying that I think the focus should be right here on New York City. I respect the work that Councilmember Ossé has done in the council.
But what does that mean? Should he not run?
I think that right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. I think the focus should be on delivering on this affordability agenda.
And what do you make?
Why not?
Right.
Why the hell not? There's absolutely no reason not to. Now's when you have someone. See how unserious they are about building power?
Yes.
Like now's when you have some wind at your fucking back. Now is the perfect time to do it. That's why the media has been speculating who's going to do it, right? Because now is the best time to do it. If Mamdani lost to Cuomo, nobody would be speculating who's gonna primary Hakeem Jeffries, because it would be an uninteresting story. That would be a non-starter. It's what they call in the politics business. But it's not a non-starter. Why? Because our time has come, hasn't it? I thought our time. I thought our time came. Our time has come and gone. That should be his new slogan.
I meant my time has come.
My time has come. Your time has gone. That should be the new slogan. Zoran wants to make sure AIPAC Shakur I like that nickname, continues to hold power while saying our time has come. I guess that time is not inclusive for everyone. Now, I want everybody to remember something, because the devil's advocate argument surely is heading into a very high stakes midterm where we're poised to win a lot of seats. We don't want to primary our leader because that'll create too much inter-party division. And what they're really worried about is the money. The party leadership raises a lot of money to give to all of these candidates, and they don't want to cut that spigot off by taking not only their party leader out of the race, but also, the AIPAC guy out of the race. So even these candidates who don't directly take AIPAC money directly, if they're depending on a DCCC raising a bunch of money and doling that out, they're kind of taking AIPAC money indirectly.
Right.
Because if you have a guy who's not friendly to AIPAC in leadership, then you're much less likely to raise all those bundles of money. Now, I'm sure the Democrats would just replace Hakeem Jeffries with another pro-Israel guy, but to have a just slavish pro-Israel stooge like Jeffries knocked out, they're worried that would cut off the money. And that's all they're worried about, because politically, it makes no sense not to primary him. Not only is he unpopular as a leader, but as we can see, if history is an example, remember the Tea Party during their rise to power, they successfully primaried Eric Cantor, who was the House Majority Leader at the time, which is the second ranking House member. If you're the majority party, the top is Speaker of the House, but House Majority Leader is number 2. And Eric Cantor was taken out during that Tea Party wave in 2014. Cantor became the first person in American history to lose his party's primary while holding the position of House Majority Leader, according to Roll Call, the Capitol Hill newspaper. That was in June of 2014. He would actually resign in August of that year. But you have to ask, okay, well, is taking out party leadership bad for the party? Does that undermine unity? Does that lead to electoral defeat for the party? No, it does not. These were the results of the 2014 midterms. Republicans adding 13 seats to a supermajority in the House, 247 to the Democrats, 188. Now you say, well, 13 seats is not a massive pickup. That's because in 2010, they had gained 61. So there weren't that many winnable seats left to win because they had already gained so many in the 2010 midterms, and they only lost 8 in 2012. So basically that map is about as red as you could possibly expect, having had what happened, having had a populist surge within the party overtake and oust from office Eric Cantor, their House Majority Leader. So there's no doubt, there's no danger that that's going to derail the midterms. But what they're worried about is, of course, the money, the AIPAC money. Republicans are more revolutionary than AOC, says Propaganda and Company. When the Republicans were trying to get their Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy confirmed Matt Gaetz said fuck it and voted against his party to trigger a vote for a new Speaker, which of course happened. That's how Mike Johnson is where he is, and hasn't that worked out wonderful, right? If AOC actually stood for something, she'd be just as bold. That's right. Now, I want you to remember, because we're going to look into a little bit of who this Ossé guy is. Remember, I showed you earlier in the segment that piece that Blakely referred to of AOC saying Kamala Harris was working tirelessly for a ceasefire. Mm-hmm. This is who this guy is. This guy is truly the next AOC, because Ossé turned down an invitation to be a delegate for Biden at the summer convention last year. But I'm here now at the DNC as a creator for Kamala. So here's the revolutionary Ossé.
Councilmember Ossé, and 6 months ago, I was asked to be a delegate for Biden, and I declined. I knew for 100 reasons he wasn't the guy. But now I'm here not as a delegate, but as an official creator for Kamala, doing everything I can to help beat Trump. Trump and J.D. Vance will be nothing but destructive for our country. Abortion access, healthcare, climate, the economy, it's obvious that she's better than Trump. And yes, she'll be better on Palestine than Biden, and a world's better than Trump. She came out...
Based on what?
Based on what? That's exactly the kind of gaslighting that came from AOC on the convention stage. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, like that is just no. Like that to me is a deal breaker. If you were gaslighting about Palestine for Kamala, that is just despicable and unforgivable. Like, look, I don't expect these Democrats to come out and endorse Donald Trump. I don't expect them to come out and endorse the Greens or anything. But if you vouched for Kamala Harris on the issue of Israel-Palestine, you are a clown. And you are permanently discredited for having done that. And so the point is, this guy is not a rebel. This guy is the next AOC. I mean, literally. I mean, it's right there. He just said exactly what she said. Oh, I wouldn't show up for Biden, but I'm a creator for Kamala. So I'm sorry. I'm a creator for Kamala. You can't even get behind a creator for Kamala if it means defying Hakeem Jeffries and Zora on the same thing. You know, you wonder why the Republicans got Donald Trump to the White House and the American left couldn't get Bernie Sanders through a primary. This is why. Because the fight is not there. Every leftist, quote unquote, for what that term is worth, that ascends within the Democratic Party, they become an island, and they don't want to actually help others get where they've gotten. Like the way that the Republicans pushed Donald Trump into the White House very much originated with the Tea Party. Now, Trump's politics are not exactly the Tea Party politics. They were a little bit more libertarian than he is, but that rebel spirit, that grubby populist rebel spirit, that started brewing with the Tea Party, and that built through the Obama years into 2015 to the point where there was fertile ground for a populist to come up and take the party over. You never can have that momentum on the Democratic side because this is how they act the second they start building any kind of power. Now is not the time. Now is exactly the time. That was the whole narrative when Mamdani won, is that now Richie Torres could be primary. Now Hakeem Jeffries could be primary. Now a progressive can run for Jerry Nadler's seat. Now Dan Goldman could be No, now's not the time for that. Now's not the time for that. That is pretty chicken shit. Not surprising.
Well, because it's all fake. They don't care if a right-wing Tea Party takes over. What did that lead to? That led to Donald Trump giving them their fucking wet dream. This fucking half-baked libertarian bullshit is a fantasy for them. What is Donald Trump giving them? Everything. Cutting healthcare subsidies for the poor, getting rid of SNAP, giving them more tax cuts, giving them more defense contracts, allowing them to loot the treasury more. Why would there be any meaningful resistance to a Tea Party within the GOP? They love that shit.
Right.
Within the Democratic Party, they have to feed them DEI, they have to feed them gender ideology, because they have to make sure that there is not an effective left. There's an effective left, that is a threat to their interests. People like Mamdani, people like AOC, people like Bernie, for that matter, are allowed to ascend exactly because they are not an actual threat. They would never allow an actual Tea Party of the left. An actual Tea Party of the left would look like a left working class movement. It would look like the old New Deal coalition. They cannot allow that. That's an actual threat. The only people they let get through are the people whose challenge to the oligarchy is mostly rhetorical, with maybe, a little reform around the edges to make the plebs think they're making progress.
That's right.
Come see me on tour in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Waikiki, Hawaii, and the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.